And I just was telling him, like, I am so grateful that you want to be present in your kids' lives, like this, because it's precious moments. It's so important. It may seem so small, but for someone like me who, like, my parents just could not be there, they couldn't be present, they couldn't support me in that way that I needed them to, like, this was so healing for me. Hey guys, okay, so I saw that Helmet I guess kind of like officially introduced me into, you know, to his followers on a recent live stream, and he like showed my picture. So, which I thought was so funny. It made me want to make a video to reintroduce myself in case this is the first time you kind of hobbled over to my my YouTube channel. So, hi, my name is Leanne. I have recently joined forces with Helmet and Sam for the Mindful Gardener. I'm kind of just helping them out because they are completely blowing up right now. I'm sure you can tell. His audience is blowing up, and having run my own kind of online coaching, healing collective online business, and knowing how much work goes into that, I kind of messaged him, Helmet, and I was like, do you want some help? Like, let me help you, because I believe in their work. I believe in their approach. I actually mentioned this to him in an email. I'm sorry if you can hear my daughter's watching Hotel Transylvania, so that's what you're hearing in the background. But okay, so Helmet, I reached out to him and I just mentioned that, you know, on my recovery journey that started December 2019, when the chronic symptoms, incredibly debilitating chronic symptoms started, wheelchair bound, all the things, going through all the medical and alternative routes for that for a few years. And then I found out about the mind-body connection, TMS, Dr. Sarnell, mind change, mind-body world, like the whole mind-body world, Dan Buglio, you know, all of it, all the YouTube channels, all the literature, all the books, Gabor Mate, like all of that. I discovered that around September 2021 and have been on a mind-body specific recovery journey since then. So 2021, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's almost 4 years now. And this recovery journey obviously has gone on longer than I wanted. But also I do believe in what Helmet always says. He's like, your journey could be delayed because there are lessons you have to learn. And I do. I learn new lessons literally every day. I also think that it's prolonged specifically for me because, oh, my camera's blurry, sorry. I think it's been so prolonged because I realized that after working, you know, with different mind-body coaches, courses, all the things, I swear to God, you guys, I've tried so many things and spent so much money. So if you're curious about all of that, let me just follow me, subscribe, and let me like explain, you know, how you kind of don't need all that stuff. Save yourself the money, save yourself the time. When I reached out to Helmet, I just told him, at this point in my journey, like, you have been the most helpful because it's simple, right? It's, you allow it, and it's building the tolerance to allow vicious, very uncomfortable symptoms as you build pretty much a new life. That's why this is so hard. And there are moments that you're gonna hit where you're like, there's no way that anyone else, the people who have recovered, there's no way that they experienced it this bad. But then come to find out, yes, they did. And this is the whole journey. The whole thing is so difficult because you're building a brand new life. This journey, I recognize, has been so hard. One, when I found out about the mind-body connection, immediately after, I got pregnant unexpectedly with my third child and had to navigate. So this is someone who I knew everything about what was going on with my body. You know, I knew that it was a nervous system issue, hypervigilant brain, but I was applying the knowledge and trying to show up safely while being pregnant and dealing with chronic symptoms. And so I just think the whole year, maybe even the whole first 2 years of my recovery journey is a whole wash because I was just trying to survive being pregnant, having a baby, dealing with the newborn, you know, and she was my third one on top of taking care of my other kids. So I'm not surprised. Oh, here she is, and like perfectly healthy, strong, big. So I totally get why this has been so long for me, on top of realizing that as we dig deeper and deeper at the layers, that I had built a life up until chronic illness. I had built a life based off of all my coping mechanisms, all my trauma, all limiting core beliefs. So my entire life that I've built, that I have a family, my community, it was all done in an inauthentic way. So yeah, it's not an easy feat to kind of rebuild your life, but you know that you're rebuilding it in a more authentic way, in a more as your true self. And that's why I'm documenting this, because though I'm not fully recovered yet, I know it's coming, because I'm making more aligned choices, tending to myself more, you know, the whole gambit. So I just want to see where my life ends up in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Like, I just want to see what happens when someone goes through a dark night of the soul like this, and how their life changes, or how much it changes, if it even does change much, or is it I just accept my life as it is, you know, all these questions. So I'm trying to document it. And if it happens to help you guys, then fantastic, because I can see how people who have fully recovered from this, I can see how they completely forget what it was like to be in the trenches, because I'm forgetting stuff from 4 or 5 years ago when this whole nightmare started. So, oh, and by the way, if you do want like a detailed explanation, description of my journey, I have written it out on my my website, leannevolley.com. Sorry, my daughter's playing with water. Ugh. Yeah, she's making a little concoction back here. You can read my whole story. It's a long read, and I haven't updated it in a while, maybe a year. Just because I'm in this space now where like I feel like all the most dramatic things have happened, and now I'm in the rebuilding mode and just looking at my life. Like, I try not to pay attention. I really try not to pay attention to the symptoms anymore, because I'm like, I know it's not the symptoms. The symptoms are messages. They're trying to get me to feel old things. They're trying to make me make more aligned decisions that are right for me, probably for like the first time in a very, very long time in my life, since I became a wife and a mother, because I realized how much I gave my whole self away when I took on those roles. You know, trying to be someone I'm not, and trying to like live up to these expectations that I thought I had, but I never really like inquired within myself what I really wanted, all that stuff. So that's me. My name is Leanne. Please like, share, subscribe. Actually, you don't have to share. Just like and subscribe. Let's get the algorithm moving, because I am really trying to find my people, and they are coming out of the woodwork. I'm grateful for YouTube, and this is the good side of YouTube and social media, because like I'm finding like-minded people, and it's just so encouraging to know you're not alone. Especially, I'm also documenting this for my fellow mothers, my fellow parents who are going through this, because I feel like when you have kids, it's a totally different ball game. You just have an added layer to your life, you know? Like, it's not about you. You have to still show up for your family and take care of them while learning how to take care of yourself for the first time and tending to yourself. So it's a learning curve. It's a balance. They just having kids alone, like on this journey, they teach you so much. Like, I look at my daughter. I was telling my husband this the other day. I look at her, because I'm learning how to be in my feminine energy. I've always been in my masculine energy, and it makes so much sense because my dad was alcoholic, drug addict, in and out of jail. That was the story. He just wasn't there. He wasn't a present father. He was absent. So I didn't have a male figure to model what a masculine energy looks like compared to a feminine energy. So then, as the oldest daughter, I'm also making videos for your eldest daughters, because specifically eldest daughters with absent fathers, because whether you realize it or not, that brings a lot of trauma and a lot of limiting core beliefs, a lot of weight is put on you subconsciously when you have a dynamic like that. So then, you know, you realize that you've been moving through life with so much masculine energy, and when you start learning about masculine and feminine, they're so different. They complement each other beautifully, like yin and yang, but they're so different. And that's why so many women are burnt out, because they've been trying to show up with as a masculine energy, which we are not. And then men are so defeated because they feel, with all the women being masculine, then the men feel emasculated, and that's why they have their own things they're dealing with. They don't know who they are, you know, like all the stuff. Am I right? So that is me in a nutshell. If you want more details, go to my website. Hopefully it'll be helpful for you to see in detail, like the struggle of everything I've gone through, like the medications, the supplements I've taken. I don't know. I don't even remember the modalities I've tried. I've tried really weird ones. So that's me in a nutshell. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe. As my daughter plays with water back there. The big question that has come up on this journey is, does environment matter? Can you heal in the same environment in which you got sick? Helmet posted a video on Mindful Gardener. It was a short of Sam, kind of described, I'll link it to this video, but it kind of describes how you do need to assess your environment. You do need to assess your relationships. And that is what I've been doing, especially within the last 6 months to the last year. I've really hermited and assessed everything. The dynamic I have with my husband, I'm not going to get into it in this video, but that has had to change a lot. That's been a journey in and of itself. The way I relate to my parents, my in-laws, my friends, my children, all of that has come to light. I'm telling you, this whole journey just guts you out. You are gutted. It's a huge renovation project. So back to the video. Watch it. It's a good short. It supported what I'm going through right now in this very moment of my recovery journey. And I was reminded of how much people that you're around and your environment affects you just this morning, because my kids, my two boys, went back to school today. Today's the first day of school. We just dropped them off. And by the way, if you are a child of trauma, of an absent father, eldest daughters especially, it is so healing. Just as a side, it's so healing to have a partner who genuinely, not just because he's trying to appease you or like do what you want him to do, but who genuinely wants to be there and present in their kids' lives. Like my husband was very adamant that he wanted to be there to drop my kids off, you know, take first day of school pictures and be late for work and all that. And I just was telling him, like, I am so grateful that you want to be present in your kids' lives, like this, because it's precious moments. It's so important. It may seem so small, but for someone like me who, like, my parents just could not be there, they couldn't be present, they couldn't support me in that way that I needed them to, like, this was so healing for me, you know, as his wife. That's aside. But okay, so anyway, so last year my 7-year-old was in first grade and he had a really, really, really rough year. It was really, really rough. By the end of the school year, he was so disengaged because he felt like school was boring and his teacher gave too much homework. Now, for me, I was like your typical overachiever, straight A student, like for my whole life, because I think, you know, there's the performance factor, there's the, you know, people will like me if I'm getting straight A's, they'll give me attention. I felt safer at school, so I always wanted to be at school and doing all the extracurricular activities than I did, you know, compared to being at home. So I excelled there. And so it was really, really hard last year with my son having such a hard time. And I did think for first grade, the homework packets that he came home with, I did think they were a lot. I did, as a parent. But looking at it through the lens of old Leanne, like kid Leanne, who excelled in school and I loved doing all the work, I looked at it and I was like, what's the big deal? Like, why can't he do these worksheets? Like, what is the problem? And I'm sure there's other factors, you know, like I was not showing up my best self now, I see. My husband and I, our relationship issues that happen during a journey like this, like I'm sure, you know, the kids can feel it, obviously. I was once a kid too, I could tell. You know, when things weren't good with my parents, which was all the time. What? You need to poo? Oh, I thought she said she had to poo. So it was very stressful. Homework would take like hours. And there was crying, there was screaming, there was slammed doors, there were just like, it was so much despair. Almost to the point where I was like, oh my God, maybe this system doesn't work. Like maybe I have to consider homeschool. I was really considering homeschool over the summer because I was like, this is causing so much distress. And he didn't really take to his teacher at the time, which was interesting because she was a fantastic teacher. She really cared for the students. She kind of had like in my opinion, Eloise! Oh my God, there's so much water. Let me wrap this up real quick. She kind of had a drill sergeant, like a slightly subtle drill sergeant mentality with her, but it's because she wanted the kids to succeed. And I could see that kids were succeeding. They were doing well in her class, although she was mentioning that towards the end of the school year that the kids were completely disengaging. And I was kind of thinking like, oh, maybe you're kind of being too hard on them. I don't know. And you have to consider these are pandemic kids. So, and they're the iPad screen devices kids. So everything's different, right? Like, and she's been teaching for a very, very long time. So maybe she needs to pivot her ways. Like, I don't know. I just know she was a great person, a great teacher. She really cared. She had a lot of compassion for the kids. But my son he really, really struggled. And the crazy thing is he was still scoring advanced in like every single subject. So clearly he knew like the learning wasn't the problem. It was keeping him engaged, doing the work to show what he knew. Like that was a hard struggle. So I was actually not looking forward to this first day of school because I was like, oh my God, we've been having such a great summer. Hey Siri, can you turn off the TV? Okay, should turn off. We were having such a great summer. It was more relaxed. I could tell Theo was happier this summer. We just biked a lot. We were just together. Everyone just kind of got to rest. Whereas last year, it was just like, go, 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 go. It was so hard to get him out of the house. It was so hard to get him to do his homework. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can go back to that. So we get into his second grade class. His teacher introduces herself. And the first thing she says is, so I don't give homework. She's like, I don't give homework. I ask that the kids read for 20 minutes every day, which I'm like, yes, reading is so important. Oh, I turned it off because it was so loud. And so once she said that, you could feel like Theo's face. He just like the weight lifted off of him. And I'm sure if you saw mine, the weight lifted off of me. And Jay, you know, my husband and Eloise, well, Eloise doesn't know what's going on, but all like, you could tell the weight just like lifted off of all of us. And I knew in that moment that I was like, oh, we're going to have a good year. Like, we're going to have a great year. Because now we know we're not going to deal with that homework stress anymore. In that small little way, it made me realize how much being in a more aligned environment makes a difference. And I'm not saying that, you know, oh, I don't want to like make my kid work, you know, like of course he needs to work, but like I do think behavior is feedback. So if something is awry, you kind of have to look at the root cause there and you need to figure it out. Now, in mine, I was kind of going extreme where I was like, oh my God, I think I need to homeschool, which I am open to homeschooling. Especially, I feel like if your kid seems to be having a hard time like Theo was, or, you know, like you need a more flexible, your lifestyle just requires more flexibility with school, then yeah, absolutely makes so much sense. But I just knew I was like, when we left him in his new classroom, I was like, oh, it's going to be a totally different experience from last year. You could see it. You could see it. And I'm not concerned as a parent because I'm like, he keeps testing advanced. So clearly, I think all kids are smart. I think if the kids who are struggling, there are other factors involved. And I think now we're moving into such an individualist, autonomous time that you can make more decisions like that, where you can find more aligned people, more aligned environments that will better support you as you are, you as a person. Theo's first grade teacher, his old teacher, wonderful educator. She was great. She was fantastic. She just wasn't quite right for him. I knew this when we went to a parent-teacher conference once, and she was telling us that he doesn't hold his pencil correctly. So she gave him a device that like will make him hold it in the quote unquote perfect, like the optimal way. And I was thinking, is that even right? Like my son's creative. He likes to draw. He's actually a pretty good artist. And he holds his pencil the way that he does. Like I was just thinking of Van Gogh, right? Like he probably held the paintbrush differently from Monet, like. So I was that kind of made me curious, and I was fascinated by that because I was like, oh my gosh, he's changing the way he holds his pencil, which is changing the way that he writes, which is not his natural way. And I kind of felt like his handwriting got worse when she tried to make him hold the pencil the right way. So all these questions come to light, right? This morning just gave me this really quick little reminder that being in a more aligned space, not necessarily comfortable, but just more aligned, really can start opening the doors for you to bloom and flourish. So I hope I'm not speaking too out of turn, because this is just the first day of school. We'll see. I'll probably update this and give you guys an update of how the school year is going. But just knowing that there's no like hours of packets of homework to do this year. That's a huge load off. So I'm really excited. When we got home, it was just me and Eloise, and I was like, oh, this is kind of nice not having them home. I forgot about this. And here I was trying to like make a quick decision to, homeschool them, which would have required way more from me. I think it's coming at the right time, the beginning of the school year, because I'm now involved in like multiple online businesses. Some are mind body specific, like the Mindful Gardener, and some are not. So now I feel like things are freeing up for me. Oh, look at that. The sun just came out of the clouds there. So it feels like a brand new day. What is it? It's a new dawn. And interestingly enough, it's coming at the tail end of retrogrades, which I don't know about you guys, but this retrograde was really intense for me personally in every way possible. It was intense for my family. A lot of things happened. A lot of things were revealed. So this feels good. Starting a new routine again, adjusting, getting back to it. I have more time to focus on things that I need to take care of, like professional stuff, online stuff. So yeah, that's my update. That's my reintroduction. Please introduce yourself in the comments section. I started doing this thing where I go on random spontaneous lives. I call it my Shoot the Ish series. So maybe you can catch that. It's just to hang out if anyone wants to hang out. And yeah, so we'll see how this school year goes. Praying for a wonderful school year. I already know it's going to be so much better than last year. It was so hard. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, wonderful day, month, year, whatever you guys are watching this. And I will see you soon.